Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. And another one who's back is Chris Cokes, re-enabled after being disabled because it's a 4-pool bot. But after winning CIG, either Chris updated it or Michael re-enabled it, and we are shortly going to find out why. At the other end of the map we have got Ironbot, and Ironbot is still Ironbot. If we take a short peek at who's on top at the moment, it is, no surprise, Ironbot with an ELO rating slightly above that of Crazio, and then basically it is the rest. So Crazio and Ironbot and the reigning champion of CIG doing a brilliant 4-pool. So without further ado, let's head into the game. Did a ZVZ special a couple of weeks ago. Last week just did a couple of matches for good measure, and that will more or less be the same thing today, because I'd just like to show you what's been going on and how the cards are stacked. Of course, AIIDE is around the corner, and well, let's see and wait, and in the meanwhile enjoy a bunch of beautiful games. At least I hope they are beautiful. And here come the Zerglings, and that is really all this week. I've not got a grand theme, I just took a look at which bots have been updated, and for the rest picked a couple of good games just to show you the beauty of Brutal AI. Ironbot going for a wall-off, and the first Marine. I would like to say that this is rather late, but if the Marine comes out at a good end, and if this wall is tight, okay, that was one if too many. Although the Lynx can't get in, really. And perhaps Ironbot will get up enough money for a factory and a vulture. Until then, every Marine that comes out is going to fall. And Chris Cokes seems to be wanting to attack the SCVs, which are prepared to repair. And this poor Marine, every time it tries to come out, doesn't really work. But as the Zerglings aren't really interested in these buildings, I think that Ironbot still has a very decent chance. And of course Chris Cokes isn't even building an Overlord. What's that about? I don't know. So a lot of money stacked. Perhaps there is some kind of follow-up to Triple ZK bot, as it's called. And Iron just forsaking any marine production as being useless. Chris Cokes really surprising me. No Overlord. It's got one oversupply. I don't know how or why. It's mysterious. But the first Vulture is out, and these Zerglings will slowly die. Oh, every time it's on 9 supply, it will do an overpool, and oh, another one, a double overpool. A triple overpool, ladies and gentlemen! You see it all here, and it's a pity that all these Lings here are going to die, but this is a triple overpool only, and with Zerglings, which finish pretty fast, made possible by the glorious APM of 10,000 running 4-pool. Now the Vultures are out on the map, and that's not good news for Chris Cokes. More Vultures to come, and while Vultures have been suffering rather a lot because everyone's been countering Vultures, 4-pool bots, as a rule, don't really counter Vultures all that much. And here go the last drones. Well, the last drones, there were only 3 to start with. Another overpool just saves it for the moment, but then... oh yeah, finally, they find another target worth firing at. And Iron going for the mines and the tech. And this is the GG, because, well, what can you do? So, next! And I thought, well, Ironbot, great showing versus Chris Cokes. Let's pick another Zerg, and it's TSEMU. TSEMU, if you recall, if you have quick eyes, is rather high up in the rankings, because it's 1, 2, 3 Crazio. Iron, and then Killerbot, which hasn't been updated in ages, last update last year, December, and TSEMU, last update somewhere around July, and that has just been putting it back to where they were before they started doing all kinds of silly things. So TSEMU is right up there with all 3 races, and then it's Steamhammer, Bereaver, and then the rest, but TSEMU is really kicking ass at the moment, and, oh, sorry, that's just a soundtrack. Let's see why that is and how he will fare against Iron, which is, must be said, a fair step ahead of TSEMU in general. So, Zerg going for, looks like a hatchery first. Yep, first the hatchery, and then something like a pool. And let's hope that TSMU can get some kind of army going. Iron this time luckier with the opening, so he can actually use the Marines which come out on the base side for defense. And now the first vulture gets caught, and that's really bad news, especially because the Lings of TSMU have no quarrels with, no qualms with not attacking buildings. So for the moment Iron is somewhat contained by Lings. The Hydras are still at home, but for the time being this barracks is producing Marines, so isn't able to lift. And while there is a nice swath of vultures, oh, here come the vultures, and 3 vultures versus 4 Lings, yeah, 3 Lings. It's not really going to work for Zerg, but by now there is a sunken handful of Hydras. And, ooh, that might have been nice to take another base, or is that the scouting drone? So Iron going for his hallmark contain, but with Hydras being out, it doesn't really appear to be working as of yet, and still on 1 base, while there is a, oh, look at that. The mining is still going, it's already going on. This drone's going to be caught. That's unfortunate, at least for the drone. It's relatively good news for the vulture. And there is its puny body decaying into the wastelands of this beautiful map. Now TSMU is rather stuck and needs to do something to get out of the base. While, oh, here come the Hydras. And with Overlords, Hydras, as we saw Arakama do, pretty much kick very hard ass versus vultures. And the Hydras are coming up, but there is a tank now, and that's going to be a bit of a rain on TSMU's parade, and also there can be a run-by, and the Hydras are all over this. Iron still on 1 base, and it's a bit of a muddle with Hydras and 1 tank and a lot of vultures. The SCVs, of course, are a bit of a prey to vultures, but with the mines, with the vultures and the SCVs and the occasional tank in the rear, I think Iron's got a good contain setting up, but TSMU's got some Hydras at the entrance of Ironbot's base, so whoever wins the middle of the map is looking forward to be able to project a lot of containment up to the enemy's entrance. Now the tanks appear to have been cleared out, and TSMU really ought to look into taking another base, perhaps make a couple of drones, because these Hydras are kind of juicy, and as the upgrades for Ironbot grow, and the mech army grows as well, tanks and Goliaths are relatively strong units versus Hydras, so that's going to be a problem, and also it's going to be a problem to get a drone out. So for the time being TSMU okay, but really needs to keep his stuff together, mop up Goliaths, vultures, not die to tanks, kill SCVs, and Iron really ought to take a natural. It's got the time, it's got the money, I would say. But TSMU's, the Hydra numbers are really growing, and army-wise he's ahead, and that's quite spectacular for a Hydra Zerg playing a mech Terran. And the Hydra's now converging upon this tank. This tank will kind of want another shot, but if you trade 1 Hydra for 1 tank, or 2 Hydras for 1 tank, 1 shot, and that's it. So now the ooh, that's ugly mineage, but the Hydras are in the natural of Iron. That's not good for Iron. TSMU getting up a 3rd, no tech switch imminent, lots of hatcheries, that's always a good sign of a good Zerg. You need to have the larvae to reproduce your army, and the mines, look at these Hydra just without overlords, microing down mines, and TSMU kicking ass. Of course 2 tanks in the chokes, not going to work for Zerg to break through there, nice mine hit on the flank. But the Hydras are powering through, and with the bunker and the tanks, I think Iron is going to hold, but the 3rd for TSMU is up, and Iron is contained. There is virtually no unit out on the map unless it's a spider mine, and we've got 1 vulture here, a couple of mines there, and TSMU stuck on the minerals. I thought he could deal with that. I don't know what that's about. But TSMU, as you can see, now on 25 drones versus 26 SCVs, and the contain. So with a couple of tanks, Iron might be able to get out of this. But the problem will be that he's going to be behind economically, and especially if TSMU ever gets a 4th up, it will be nigh impossible for Iron. Oh, this, look at the beauty TSMU with the drift net, catching a vulture, always a nice thing to do. Now vacating the natural, Iron not really inclined to take the base there. Main is getting low, so even if he takes the natural, there is a nice mechy army going out, but oh, these Hydras, yeah, they move out of that pocket, very well done. or at least 2 are stuck in there. But the Hydras are out there, and they're moving back to base for some reason. Small push with SCVs and Vultures coming up, but not really working. Hydra's still doing okay, trading tit for tat with the Vultures and the Goliaths. Tanks are still too far in the rear, and TSCMU is doing okay. I would like to see a Sunken here for any case a Vulture run by might do some damage. Another tank getting caught with his pants down, and that's really something Iron should improve upon, could improve upon. Its tanks are so exposed, and you can just see TSCMU running away with this. Army supply is now bigger than Terrans. The mines versus AI microed Hydras are pretty ineffective, relatively ineffective, I should say, because they can just micro down mines, and Iron's hasn't got the army anymore. It's got the worker deficit. That's unfortunate. And TSCMU just roaming across the map, checking bases, making sure there are no mines. And TSCMU like to see a Sunken and a Spore here just for good measure. The natural is somewhat defended, but it's TSCMU's game to lose at the moment. Look at these Hydras coming up, but with 2 tanks now, Iron in a good position. The only problem is, the question is, what will TSCMU's Hydras do? Will they fight? And it looks like they are much more prone to fight, and then the tanks unsiege. The Vultures run for it, and that's not good, because the Vultures need to soak up damage for the tanks, and the tanks just need to control the map, do damage, and you can see all these supporting units are too flexible. They need to shield off the tanks, and every time a large lot of them dies, SCVs dying, Vultures dying, tanks unprotected, this tank lives, and if there is an SCV coming up, it will be repaired. So I am doing good on that point. Matter though is that the main is mining out, TSCMU's drone count still growing, needs a 4th, needs some protection, but the Hydra count is growing, and relatively the army of TSCMU is growing faster than that of Iron. You would expect that with a 3 versus 1 base situation. Iron though got 3 tanks up. Hydra contain, 1 tank dies, this tank is full of messed up, and the Hydras run away with this. This is the last tank for Iron, and if he doesn't hold this wave of Hydras with a couple of well-sieged tanks, it's going to be over. Army supply is 14, and that's mostly in Vultures. The Hydras are with a vengeance, and that's normal speed, but if on normal speed they behave like this, as a Terran, that is a frightening sight. And that mine just got shot down before it connected with the first Hydra. And Iron is now out of this game. The main is out. TSCMU taking the middle base with the double gas, looking to switch up perhaps into Hive Tech. No, there isn't even Lair Tech, good heavens. Oh well, there is a Lair, but this mass of Hydras will not be conquered. Of course there is a bunker, of course there are some supporting units, but you need to have 4 or 5 tanks here, and you could have all the Hydras in the world that would never come through. This bunker doing really well. We've got 1 tank in the rear now. That's a good setup for Iron, but this is the problem. It is mining out at an increasingly fast rate, and the bunker, soon Iron won't even have enough minerals to repair the bunker. There is only 1 tank, and the composition is waning. 4th base up for TSCMU. Will we have... I think this is going to be a Queen's Nest. And TSCMU just not overcommitting, really doing well on the drone count. And of course this push peters out, and I think that TSCMU is switching from Hydras into something else. Hydras, there are still some Hydras coming up. Iron is still going to hold 1 more time, going to break out, but all the minerals are gone. It's got no bank, it's got no natural, and it would be a hard fight to bring it back. TSCMU going up to 40 workers versus a 0 base economy. That is no good news for anyone, and especially not for Iron in this game. Here comes the Hive Tech, and TSCMU is just going to stockpile gas, stockpile units, occasionally make a couple of Hydras just to keep the contain going. And you can see TSCMU now really lacking in the army department, only 13 with a 4 versus 0 base economy. That's not really to be commended. Some units are being made occasionally, but it's just tacking way too hard, droning like a madman. Could take another base, could plop down a couple of Sunkens. Iron is sort of moving out, and as soon as this mineral patch is out, perhaps it will long distance mine to keep itself in the game. The Hydras though are moving, are attacking. Iron on 9 army supply, and with these fewer Hydras, a couple of them will fall to mines, but these Vultures just cannot contest Hydras, and the single Goliath can't either. Another SCV is going down, and Iron is really hard pressed at the moment. The Hive is done. So TSEMU 4 versus 0 base on Hive Tech. I say congratulations, you have won the game, but what will it be doing? And this drone is not going to be able to build a base here, or is it another scouting drone? A couple of units of ions are still out on the map, namely a vulture, which is going to be caught by its own SUV. That's unfortunate. Another vulture here is going to be caught between two swords of hydras and is going to die. And now there is nothing out on the map save this lone spider mine for iron. No units here, one army supply, namely one marine, a couple of workers, the hydras move in. And behind this, TSEMU is just doing... where is it spending its money on? It's really... what's it producing? Production, couple of hydras, couple of overlords, a little bit of tech, nothing spectacular. And... really just going for... oh, the kill. Oh. Okay, GG! And let's hop into the next game. And you know what? It's called hard-coded. And if you see this hard-coded Zerg with 100 minerals for workers, going to put it against Aya. Aya, of course, the creation of Florian Richoux, is now associate professor of something AI or computery in France somewhere. Oh, bollocks, I froze it again. Sorry. We'll have to reload. That's very unfortunate, but luckily we are right back into the game. And there we go. What? Oh well, I shouldn't be selecting too much. The workers are all going to scout, need to find the enemy fast. And perhaps that will give Aya some chance to get back into the game or to pop out. A vulture then perhaps with the workers might be able to do something, losing a couple of probes, that's a given. But the probes which are still there, and I can only hope that there is a unit coming up, a zealot, they are called zealots. And all the three workers for hard-coded are back at the base now. And Aya is going to build, no, I'm not going to have a sneak peek at the production tab, going to build workers, and I really hope that it can manage to squeeze out a zealot, they're called zealots, but only building workers, and workers are good, but it's a very precarious situation where you are building workers versus drones, and now it's got the money, it should build a zealot, but it's building workers, so I think in the end, Aya may fall. It's got 7 workers now. And losing workers because the worker micro is bad. 3, 4, 5 workers. And yeah, that's going to be the game. Hard-coded, taking the game of Aya. Aya, sorry, no cigar. And I had one more. Okay, we're just going to do this in the order which I downloaded the replays. Which doesn't make any sense, but makes for a more diverse broadcast without any theme. And the theme was to be no theme, so we are doing great. Haha! Arakama been pushing an update, and I think I heard him say it was the AIIDE update. He's been suffering a bit. Oh, it's been suffering a bit because too much stuff has been added, and it's will need some rework probably to become stable again. Had a bit of a high streak when it was able to beat down Iron, but now it's become. Oh, that's really ballsy. 3 bases versus McRave. Before any tech whatsoever, no pool, and only now the pool and the gas. McRave playing it really safe, so that's pretty well done by Arakama. Just going to play it safe while McRave sits back behind the cannons, and only then a gateway. Good morning. I really should not do this in the early morning because I'm just not awake enough to remember how things are called, like zealots and gateways and things like that. McRave going for a handful of units and a couple of cannons. Well done, but the worker count of Arakama, and Arakama is taking bases 4 and 5 and no army, virtually no army, and only now going to produce Hydra, so that's an okay build. The question is if McRave will have any kind of AoE damage, some kind of Templar tech going up before the Hydras hit, and it doesn't look like that because the Hydras are on the move. It's only a small number, about 9, and they're going to suffer horribly at the hands of this Gateway army. Upon seeing this gateway army though, they flee, which is a good decision. More Hydras though are coming, and look at the minimap, it's just one trickling in after another. And that is an Overlord, so no 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 days coming up. But the Hydras are in among the cannons, and the gateway army is... oh god, that's bad. And it should just fight at this point. The Hydras have got great mobility, but versus goons, cannons and zealots, they should be... Protoss should be okay. The big problem is going to be, though, that in that huge drone count for Eric Hammers, and Eric Hammers got not producing armies, still increasing that drone count. The Protoss army is on the move, though, and that's the problem, because the Protoss army, as a rule, doesn't really die as fast as the Zerg army. So now it's 40 versus not even 10 army supply, and although there are a couple of Sunkens, there is really no harder tech coming up, higher tech coming up. And here comes the gateway army. Oh god, and it's always so hard to do, to have your army fight together with the Sunkens. But usually it's Sunkens first, then the drones come off the line, and then there is an army at the back. And that's just horrible watching. McGrave coming with the Reaver, with the huge army, and then the drones come off the line, and that's really hard to do, but you've got to keep your army together. You've got to keep the Sunkens and your army together in order to be fighting effectively. This is not going to work, and although there are a lot of colonies, the Natural is going to be attacked, and the way Eric Hammer is defending is just losing units needlessly. They are not getting anything done. Oh, but there is a lurker. I knew what it was called. A lurker, and it's only one, but it's saving the day. And I don't know what this gateway army is doing. All the overlords are dying, and this is a curious standoff. But with a third coming up for McRae, I'm sure there is going to be an observatory. And there we go. And although there is a lurker doing huge amounts of damage to this gateway and army with one Reaver, I can't see the kill count, so that's a bit of a bother. Oh, there is an observer now. So should be dealt with shortly. And there goes the last lurker. The army supply of Eric Hammer is 0. And McRave taking base after base and producing unit after unit. Going to call the GG. And the next game is TSMU Protoss versus Lucas Moravec. Lucas been updating like a madman, and I must say that his bot is remaining relatively stable, and that's a good sign. That means that the internal architecture is okay, and it's only waiting for it to either, like Crazio, grow by small incremental steps into a veritable monster, or for it to discover some kind of learning trick or some go-to build order to become really great, because bots which are updated all the time tend to grow organically, and it just shows that the author is committed to make it a worthwhile project, a good project, and that is always good to see because the results are good. Now, TSMU hasn't been updated in a while, but it's TSMU. So the old versus the young, and the established versus the newcomer. The newcomer is going off on a wild goose chase, chasing one zealot with its entire army. And if you are going to do a 2-gate build, that's a bit of a bummer, because you need to be able to put pressure on the enemy. TSMU with a handful of zealots on the ramp, and as long as this wild goose chase is going on, I think it can do pretty well. It's because it will get goons up, and goons and zealots are pretty effective. Now the probe algorithm, there are too many probes here, so some go off on long distance mining. And because there is a large army out, I think it's not going to make a new Nexus. And this is just cruel, because all the zealots, which is the build of Lucas, that's a 3-gate 1 base without any tech, is to put pressure on the enemy, and that one zealot, just gets away once more. TSMU now with a natural up, and army supply, TSMU is a little bit behind. The quality of the army with the goons is a little bit better. We'll have range soon, and this zealot should take him not into the base but away from it. And if the natural gets going, Lucas got the natural as well, got the same tech, got a little bit bigger army, but TSMU's got the Robo Bay up already, and I think that Lucas is going to have a little bit of a problem, especially as Reavers and Templar are going to go out, because this Zealot army is worth a lot of supply, but it's not really strong in later game PvP. It can do a lot of damage, but without supporting units of any kind, it's going to be a mess. And this observer of TSMU sees everything. Now sees the natural, and you can bet on it that TSMU is going to do something with that. Now going for a citadel and for a robo support bay, now coming out onto the map and chasing the army of Lucas back to base. One goon sniffing it, another goon dying as well, and army supply wise TSMU is 3 ahead, so should be careful though not to split up his army too much, because now it's going to lose a chunk because it's cut off from everything, and that's really puzzling me. But you never know, it's TSMU. You can expect anything. They're going to protect this base, but the main army of Lucas is going to hit the natural, it looks like. And although there is a Reaver, and perhaps another one soon, I'd really like... Yep, there comes the main army. So this army of Lucas is going to be caught in the middle, and they are not really attacking. So every once in a while TSMU is posturing here, posturing there, and that shuttle is going to do something really stupid. It's going to take the Reaver out of the home defense, and that Reaver is... Oh, that's a nice shot though, but... I'd like to see it a little bit more protected, please. Oh, God! Oh, what a stupid shuttle that is. Good, but that's something incredibly hard to determine when to pick up, when not to. And you just can't see TSMU running away with this. So now with the 3rd base up, and Lucas Moravec's army is smaller, is in lower tech units, and although there is a nearly dead shuttle, where is it? Is it dead already? No, it's here. A nearly dead shuttle with a nearly dead Reaver. Oh, yeah, God. Thank God it's dead. It's not good for the nerves. Oh, and a Dark Ark. Hello, what are you going to do, mate? You never know. It's TSMU protecting the 3rd, protecting the natural, just getting ahead. And not really attacking at this moment, because army-wise it's superior. It's still got to win a major battle, but... And the question is, where is that Dark Archon? I saw a Dark Archon. Where is it? It's not in the shuttle, surely. It's not. That wouldn't make any sense. Where is it? Okay, well, let's keep an eye on that shuttle. Lucas still on 1-2 bases, not really doing much tech-wise, some tech coming up. But that shuttle, what the beep is it doing? It's just a no-speed shuttle with presumably a Dark Archon in it. It lost a Reaver, or the previous shuttle lost a Reaver here. And that's just... it's just doing it wrong. That may be safely said. TSMU taking a 4th, not really eager to attack, just putting some kind of weird pressure on Lucas with a shuttle with the Dark Archon. And meanwhile getting the army into shape. Building production upon production. Dark Templar here, Dark Templar there. Oh, and a storm! Oh, that's a pretty decent storm. We've got the first storm drop, ladies and gentlemen. The first I witnessed, so GG to TSMU. And then it's just going to make Lucas very uneasy. Lucas on 2 bases still, TSMU now on nearly 4. And TSMU really ought to push, because, well, this is going to take forever otherwise. Shuttle nearly dead, picking up another Templar, and it's going to die again, I'm sure, because it's stupid. Nice storm drop, but... oh, that's the aftermath of that storm, caught quite a few goons. But if you don't attack, the shield will just regenerate, and TSMU's got a large army. It's got a nice drone count, a probe count. It's got a nice army, but right now it should just trade. And if you don't trade, these Dark Archons are not going to do anything. Just going to pounce, produce more. And no, that small run-by didn't do anything. There is, for some reason, a shuttle with units, and Lucas got some Templars of his own. Where is the High Templar, or is there a High Templar in there already? TSMU with a handful of units, and now the main army is advancing upon the natural. This is not a fair fight, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a beatdown. And Lucas can't replenish because the main's nearly out. TSMU's all over this, and it's just Zealots. And TSMU's got Zealots, got Archons, got Templar. And is there more coming? No, for the time being, just going to be pro-production and another High Templar. So, yeah, what can you do? TSMU storming its own units. Oh no, those are pretty good storms from the high ground, but the matter of the fact is that the main is out, the natural's been evacuated, and you've got a lot of units into your base. So TSCMU for the time being a little bit too strong, taking a 5th base, just producing units, keeping its army up. And I really would like to see what's going to do with Dark Archons in a PvP, but perhaps we'll find out in the next game. Next, it's Random Hammer. Random Hammer, I love it. It is a production of J. Scott, author of Steam Hammer. It plays random, and this game rolled Zerg, and versus bwapi. So it's, well, let's show you. It's a Steam Hammer versus bwapi. So Ironbot, Crazio, Killerbot, for some reason it's kicking ass still, with the 3 TSCMUs, Steam Hammer, bwapi, and then the rest. So, oh no, that's the soundtrack. bwapi, I'm going to speed up the initial stages because nothing much is happening anyway. Fast expansion for Random Hammer, and then a pool, that's a good enough build. I hope for an in-base 3rd hatchery, and bwapi going for 1 gate, and a lot of pylons, and then a core. With the Zerglings, ooh, and bwapi is going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble because that's a large batch of lings. And 1 zealot is going to walk past, that's good. It's going to mull about. But this ling army is going to be a real problem, especially as there is only, oh, there is a 2nd gate operational now, but there is no zealot at the moment. It's only 2 army supply, and the workers will have to come off the line to try and stall this. With 1 zealot, it's going to do a lot of damage. The lings will suffer, but the workers will suffer as well, and you can see bwapi on only 11 workers, army supply is gone, and it saves the base for now. There are more lings coming. But now the damage has been done. Random Hammer is going back to attacking. This is the 3rd in base. I said I would like that, so props to Random Hammer for doing as I wish, because of course I'm... Oh, let's not get into me. And a Random Hammer is now saving for something. Building a couple of lings, just keeping the contain going. And that's always a good idea, just to have a large, or large-ish, some kind of an army on standby to not be overrun entirely. Going for a lair, going for Hydras, and the Hydras it might well need because there is a Corsair coming to harass Overlords, and there is a Spore. So Random Hammer really solid. This Corsair can't get anything done. This Overlord is well protected. More lings being built at the moment, and worker-wise, Random Hammer is doing okay. Could take a 3rd base. I don't know what kind of unit it's going to build with the lair tech, but for the time being I'm very happy. And bwapi is teching up as well, making a lot of tech, a really small army for a Protoss, and only 1 base. That is astounding as well. And this Overlord, of course, is going to snuff it. Will be unfortunate, but hey, what can you do? And we've got a shuttle with a Reaver and no defense at all. We've got 2 Hydras, and that might... Ooh! Stupid Hydras! Your drone line is under attack. Have some memory, please do it. And although the shuttle is taking some damage, every time the shuttle is out of sight, the Hydras move back to base, and that's really stupid. And the shuttle... Oh god, the shuttle is even stupider than the Hydras. That's unfortunate for the shuttle, unfortunate for the Hydras. So, bwapi taking another base. That's nice to see. bwapi is taking 2 Reavers, and that's good. Random Hammer might take another base. It's really not doing some kind of hybrid build with some units, some Corsairs, some tech, not really macro heavy, now taking a 3rd, but Protoss has got the double the army supply, and with a Reaver and Zealots versus only Lings, it's going to take a lot of doing, and another base up, and with the worker count nearly double for Protoss, it's going to be a hell of a problem for Zerg to beat that down. There are too many cannons to get anything done with Mutas, and that should just be a sign that you don't need to make Mutas, and that's a very fast hype. What that's about, I don't know. So Zerg army, puny in the middle, going to tear down a Reaver, a good catch, and the Scourge take down a Corsair, also a good catch. Now, also, only if the Mutas weren't suiciding on cannons, but picking off High Templar and Corsairs and Zealots, but because the Zealots run straight into the natural! Oh, God! Oh, that's really beyond me how a good bot like Steamhammer would allow for the enemy to just run 3 zealots into the natural, and it looks like the same is going to happen again. The units won't fight, and if they do fight, they die. The muters are all over this, and Steamhammer has got the double army supply. It's got the 3rd base with some cannons. That's good, so no 3 zealots can wipe out your entire drone line, or probe line if it's so in all 3 muters. This is better. Just not lose any workers, kill it with lings and muters. Muters shouldn't micro so much, but cluster up and do damage, because it's also spread out and really... Oh no, that's the Reaver freezing from time to time, not the open replay viewer. And Steamhammer's still got a chance, but the army is so small, and one good storm and this is all over. And of course there is Storm, there are Reavers, there are Corsairs, and the worker count for Random Hammer is puny. Yes, it's got a greater spire, but it's got no economy, it's got no muters. Well, it's got a couple, but they are badly damaged. And it's got no army basically, and bwapi is going on 3 bases with a huge production capacity, going to run this into the ground and relatively fast. Ultra Cavern of 3 bases with 20 workers. No defenses at the 3rd, at the... Oh, there are 2 Sunkens now. Not too late, but well. But the 3rd has been stamped into the ground by Zealots, Archons and Goons. And yeah, there is 1 Ultra, but versus Reavers, Archons, Zealots and Goons, that's... you need about a lot. And that is going to be the theme of the game. It's just not enough by Steamhammer. bwapi running away with the game, and let's hop into the next game, which is Cha Seung-guk, the renowned Terran from Korea, going to play Forcebot. And Forcebot is one of the participants of the Gold Project, making its way into this beautiful Brute War AI open environment called the Student StarCraft AI Tournament. And going for an expansion. That's always a sight to behold if something simple evolves into something more complicated and is going to do more interesting things. So what will we see? We will see a lot of drones, that's a good decision, a lair and a Hydra den, and whoa, what's that? Oh, that's just Marines. Cha Seung-guk going with a lot of Marines to scout out on the map. There is no defense here, and all the units of Forcebot are in the main. And they need to come out of there pretty quickly, because the natural is under attack! Our workers is under attack! The hive structures are under attack! Oh god! Oh, and only now, if the main base is under attack, they fight, and they do so pretty well, because the Marines of Cha Seung-guk aren't doing anything. But by now it's devolved into a 1-base hybrid build Terran versus a Zerg, which is building a lot of units, but not attacking or defending or doing anything of whatever. Not rebuilding the natural. And there are mines now, so yeah, they clean that up. And now is a small army of Zerg out on the map, and the only time where there should be anything in the main base, there isn't. But the Wraith is so weak it can't withstand the Hydras. That's a lucky fight for these Lings, and that base isn't going to be built, it seems. And that is pretty well done. You can see some units attacking this command center, some units defending, and that's always good to see if a bot can have 2 control groups of units doing different things. Burrow! Burrow! Very good. So, Cha Seung-guk going for an interesting building placement arrangement, not for a natural, and that's going to be a problem because Forcebot is just retaking its natural. And although there is a Wraith going to town on the Hydra Den, my god, what's that about? And the army of Forcebot, it's there, but it's going to die, and there are muters now. But there are also Wraiths and Vultures in the main base. The Wraith is going to go down-ish. The Vultures not, and the drones on gas have died. But Forcebot defending the base, and I must say I'm pretty impressed by Forcebot being from the Gold Project, which I have been told is not really easily expandable. gameplay-wise in multiple bases and late game thingamajiggies. But we see Hydras, we see Mutas, and it is defending its own base, so that's pretty well done. 3 drones standing around doing nothing, that's not good. The Mutas are doing okay, 1 sunken would be great to have here, but this Muta army, if it gets out of control, it can do a lot of damage, but there is a natural for Chasenguk as well. And Chasenguk just going to throw weird... Oh god, this one lurker is doing damage. Way too much damage. And this factory is going to go down. Yeah, there is a scan, but there is no unit attacking it. And the Muta count is growing. You can see the army of Chasenguk is only 12. Of Forcebot, it's only 24. But Chasenguk, I feel, is just losing way too many units. And just throwing away Wraith into the main base and Vultures into the main base as well. These Mutas have got everything well under control, and although Forcebot is losing units, we've got this one brilliant lurker doing lots and lots of damage in the main base. Just taking a toll on SCVs, on buildings. Oh god, here goes another one. And that's just sad. Chasenguk really dropping a large ball, I must say. So that's that, and there goes another Wraith, and meanwhile 1 sunken would have prevented a lot of frustration, but I guess if these are 2 pretty evenly matched enemies, and these Mutas are following the SCV, they can't target it, but there is Overlord speed, and that's also good to see that Overlord speed is being built. It shows that this bot's got aspirations, and look at this. If we're going to follow that Vulture, it's going to follow a path. Oh, and I thought it would continue this line of mines here. Yeah, this one does. Oh, that's brilliant. Just laying 1 mine and then buggering on. You've got to lay a mine. Oh, sorry. Mutas doing well. Chasenguk. Where is that Reaver? The Reaver is doing all kinds of nasty damage here in the main. And going to kill... Not going to kill, but going to damage SCVs. Are there damage SCVs? Not as much, not as many as I would expect. The Muta count is growing though, so if ever they're going to take the path of the Vultures, they will mop up the Vultures and run into the main base. Meanwhile, this one Vulture is doing tons worth of damage. Forcebot going for another hatchery, that's pretty good. Might take another base, might plop down a couple of Sunkens, couple of Spores just for good measure, so it could actually attack with the Mutas. Chasenguk not taking another base, sending in a Wraith, and then the entire Muta army is coming back again. The army of Forcebot is growing to frightening proportions. Hey, where is the lurker? I missed it. Oh, the lurker is dead. Sorry, I missed that. But there is so much happening, and it's really a mess keeping an eye on this beautiful game. The Mutas are out now. They have found blood, or better, they have found the natural, with a lot of juicy SCVs in them, which have been transferred from the main. Good for Chasenguk. And this Vulture is going to be attacked. So, I must say, I am impressed by Forcebot's fight, and as this is, I think, a master's thesis project, we may actually see some learning or some decision-making upgrades. I really need to talk to the author of Forcebot about this. Unfortunately, I haven't as much time as I used to talk to all the authors of the bots, so that's a bit of a problem. This Vulture being ignored, killing almost the entire extractor. Mutas here, Mutas there, and lots of Mutas, but 1 sunken would do that quite as well. And another base, so I like Forcebot. It's got the potential to be really great. Of course, needs a lot of work. But look at these Mutas. It's just way too many Mutas, and they're going off after different units, and some just stall for a moment. That's unfortunate. But they have found the main, and although some buildings are being rebuilt here, Chasenguk has got a concept of, let's not build here, it's unsafe, because there are 13 Mutas over there. And worker transfer is not something Forcebot is as of yet doing, but I think it is. I am impressed. It's fighting pretty well, and some Mutas are doing stuff here, some Mutas are doing stuff there, and some Mutas are doing stuff here in the defense versus the Vultures, which are occasionally still running by. Charles and Cook relocating the entire base, and well, how will this end? Probably with the destruction of the Terran race, with the Overlords. And look at how many mutas there are. That's just frightening. It's really frightening. It's 105 army supply, and I don't think I see anything else but mutas and Overlords. Oh, and a handful of Lings. And one Wraith being chased by all the mutas in the world without an Overlord. Where are the Overlords? It could theoretically just micro down this entire flock of mutas. Unfortunately, its energy would run out, and then it hits an Overlord, and that's GG. And oh god, here come the mutas. Another base being taken, another... Oh no, that's not a base being taken. Would have been nice though, island base being taken. Force bot would be the first bot to do that. And these vultures are really having a bad day. And there come the Sunkens. Yeehaw! That's pretty well done. Only a little bit late, but here comes the... Oh god, the unconquerable muta army going after mines and vultures. And once they... Oh, they're coming back. But they are coming in for this base now, and I don't think any... Oh, a unit will go out. That's pretty cruel. Muta's a little bit slow, but that GG! And next game, we've got Hannes Bradberg, the nuking Terran, with the incredibly annoying sounds on the ladder, which I can't show you because this is a replay, and replays don't save sounds. Watch it on stream, and in the bottom right you can see our address, you can see the stream, and if Hannes Bradberg is up, you can vote for it. It will nuke and play all kinds of abusive sounds. Now, Arakhammer going for 3 bases without tech, and then going up to versus Hannes Bradberg, which is just going to build a lot of Marines, fight with them, and transition into... Oh god, this is not good. Fighting wise, it could do with a little bit an upgrade, but once these marine numbers get out of control, it's going to be a hard match for Einheim. And you can see if there is no enemy in sight, they go out on all kinds of tangents to scout, and if they see something, they will converge upon that to kill it. And that's an egg, and that's a lava, and that's an Overlord. So nothing in sight now, and they're all... Scat. Oh, that's some pretty good muta micro by Arakhammer. Of course, a Lurker would have been nice too versus pure Marines, and this is really still using mutas as main battle tanks. That's okay. Well, obviously coders aren't listening to me because otherwise they wouldn't do that. I've said that before, and I will say it till I drop dead. But Muta is not a main battle unit. You've got to micro with it, you've got to do economical damage with it. You can't go up versus a 2-base Terran and just take on Marines head on with an inferior number of mutas. Doesn't work, it's not cost efficient, don't do it. So 3rd base for Bradberg, and of course now the mutant numbers are growing somewhat. The Marines, which are a little bit spread out, are suffering a bit. Hannes Bradberg taking a ballsy base right across the map. 3rd base going to be operational soon. More barracks being built, tech being built. But this is going to be a bio thing. And Arakhammer is going to take a huge toll on these Marines with the Hydras, with the mutas. The Marines, though, are defending and also defending the 3rd base. And that's not because they are defending the 3rd base, but there are units here. So they move in the direction of the units. Might be a little bit more persuasive to my mind because it's going to lose the 3rd, and the Ghost is, even with his long range, not going to do it. Marines sweeping in now, and Arakhammer scouting this base, taking more bases. So it's going to be a nice clusterfuck of a game, and that's nice. Bradberg, though, taking a lot of bases and building more production, so I don't know if this is a good idea by Arakhammer. Arakhammer now harassing this base, and that's good because there is a silo there, and once the silos are up, Bradberg will start firing nukes, and that is always a bit of a menace. Bio army in the middle of the map doing business. Arakhammer with a very small army, that's something that's really strange. It's throwing away units at an alarming rate, and Bradberg's doing the same, but by now it's got a couple of nukes prepping. And once the nukes are done, are fully seasoned, it will nuke, and then you are in all kinds of trouble. Meanwhile, Bradberg's got no army to speak of, and it really need more production, more units. But with all the bases it's got, it's both players building units and throwing them away. Ghosts versus Hydras. Where will you see that? That's absolutely stupid. And Eric Hammer taking down the third. It's got no silo, so it's not the biggest thing. But the Marines without medics are not really a match for these Zerg forces. And the Zerg forces are now taking the natural by storm. That was a defensive nuke. I hope that was worth it. Not really sure. And there are no barracks here, so Eric Hammer is just going to run away with that. This base being retaken, well, I can't really see Bradberg doing anything with that. Although Eric Hammer's army is really puny as well. And it's just going to be a huge mess of bio. And that's just a nuke in the middle of the map, hoping to catch a queen for some reason. And Bradberg going to do this full bio style, no medics, mind you, no medics at all. And a lurker, is there a oh god, there is no scan. Did you see that? All these Marines are going to die to lurkers. There are nukes ready, so I've got to make sure I keep an eye on where. And the scan, so that's the lurker taken care of. I've got to keep an eye on the ghosts, just to, oh god, all these SCVs are going to die, and the silo is going to die as well. Bradberg making a huge clusterfuck of this. But the army is coming in now to save the day, but as there's a ramp here, the Zerg army is getting away. No nuke this time, thank god, in the vicinity of that command center. And army-wise, Eric Hammer is struggling. For some reason, it's got huge amounts of minerals. It's not making it. Could just make 1,000, 1,500 minerals worth of Zerglings. Would be okay versus this bio army. But we've got a Dark Swarm, we've got an Ultra Cavern, we've got no gas whatsoever. What's that about? Ooh, and that's a nuke, but didn't really do any damage. But the problem is now that Eric Hammer's got this base invested, here comes another nuke. Boom! And taking care of a lot of bio units as well. If you're under pressure like that, you're going to be nuked, and then as more bio units will join the fun. What's that about? Kill that bloody Zergling. What the hell? Yeah, there you go. If you're under pressure like that, you've got now ultras. So this game is so out of control. Whoa! Barracks! And look at that, Bradberg can't keep its money down with the barracks it's got. We've got a lot of ghosts, which aren't doing anything. It's got a lot of gas too. So Eric Hammer is under attack here. It's not under attack there. And everyone seems to have stalled. Action going on here. These ultras have got so much armor, they can't be touched by bio units ever. It's just not. Have they got the upgrade? No, they haven't got the upgrade. Oh, ultra speed, no ultra armor yet, but this is going to be a huge money soak for Bradberg, because these ghosts versus ultras and Sunkens is not going to work. And Bradberg could make a lot of units, but I think that this game is going to time out. It's got some kind of... No, it's frozen. Sorry. Oh yeah, Bradberg doesn't go well with Brute War, with Open BW. I keep forgetting that. How stupid am I? Could have been a really nice game, but Microwave, which is pretty high up there. TSMU Steam have a Riva Microwave, and I thought that's why I took it, or at least a replay of it. Versus TSMU Terran. TSMU Terran is a monster. How will it stack up versus Microwave? And we've got the first batch of Zerglings out. TSMU still, oh, it's got the units among the workers for some extra defense. That's pretty well done. And only 14 workers. So this SCV, will it be brought home safely? No. And by now there are enough Marines to do something about those Zerglings. And that is a very quick Hydra play. Is there, yeah, Lurker. It's one base Lurker for Microwave and TSMU. I can only hope that it will have detection relatively soon. That's a stupid place to build another factory. Or it will have mines. Mines will do the trick too versus lurkers, but you need quite a couple because you can't really aim them as well. There are a number of lurkers though. There is no machine shop, so that's going to be a problem. And that is... oh god, here come the lurkers. So the lurkers are there, and TSC moves out on the map with a couple of vultures, and it's not said that Microwave will move in there, because you also got the micro lurk as well, and if this one pops up, TSC move should now be scrambling for detection or mines or anything. Otherwise it's going to be invested with lurkers, and that's not good. There is the machine shop. Is it making mines? Yeah, it's making mines. So for the time being, TSCMU is somewhat okay, but oh yeah, there we go. Lurkers dying left and right, natural being taken for microwave, so interesting. Gambit, there is still one lurker camping the ramp of TSCMU. TSCMU can't really get out, can't make another base, so microwave could be okay if it weren't building so many sunkens. Here, it should be building sunkens there, but okay. Can you do? Sunken placement, building placement, full Zerg is very hard, where to defend, where not to. And this lurker is slowly regenerating HP and doing, oh god, doing an ungodly amount of damage versus SCVs, versus vultures, versus this command center under construction. TSMU's got no detection whatsoever, and that's really strange. Should make an academy, should make an eBay, should make a science vessel, but right now it's just losing money left and right, SCVs left and right as well. Of course, 2 vultures here, but microwave slowly coming back into the game, worker count rather low, but it's pretty safe, and it's got its trump, this one lurker doing god knows how many damage to TSCMU. TSCMU not making any kind of detection. It's got the capacity, but it's building workers, of which it's got enough, you would say, or you could stop doing that. Could build an academy. Is that an academy? Please let it be an academy. Yeah, that's an academy. Because this lurker has really done enough damage now. Look at, oh god. Oh god, all the SUVs. Oh! And this must be the 4th or the 5th command center it's going to tear down. And here comes the army of microwaves. Only 1 sunken and 2 bases, but it's got an army out on the map. The army is small compared to TSCMU's. But now we've got, oh god, it wasted the scan for some reason. And oh god, this is going to be painful. TSCMU locked down by a single lurker. And Microwave's got the map. What's Microwave doing with the time it's got? It's saving up for perhaps another hatchery or just more units. And oh god. Oh god, the lurker, oh it's got scanned but not enough. And oh, finally it dies, so now TSCMU will be out of this, and or in this, or out on the map with the army. And although it's vultures versus hydras, by now there are so many, and the natural will probably be up soon, this is going to be a bit of a posturing battle between hydras and vultures. I expect TSCMU coming out ahead because it's got double the supply, it's got almost triple the army supply, and the hydras don't seem to be inclined to fight. And that's always a bad sign. If your army won't fight, it's relatively useless. Will Microwave be doing something else? A couple of more hatcheries in base, but not doing anything. TSCMU going for a couple of Goliaths. Might do with some tanks. Don't know where the tanks are at this moment, but just teching up, taking a third. And the Hydras, oh, the Hydras are fighting now, that's good. They're fighting pretty well. TSCMU's army is dwindling. And it seems like, ooh, the Hydra's just going to march straight into the natural and end this game because TSCMU hasn't got any tanks. And that's the gist of this game. So even though you've got 2 quite good AIs, if they are going to do silly things, yeah, there you go. Lurkers are back. And Microwave with a 2 base, beating TSCMU to its knees. Main is mined out, natural's gone, third is up. And I saw 1 siege tank, or at least at this speed it's going to be dead. And that is the GG! Next, Steamhammer versus Tyr Protoss. Whee! Speeding it up. Okay, so that was 512 times the speed. We've got a handful of Zerglings posturing out of sight of the base of Tyr Protoss. And Steamhammer with 3 bases operational, looking good. Tyr with a lot of cannons, and I really like that Protoss are starting out with cannons. They need to do it a little bit more sophisticated, build cannons here so they can take the natural as well. Steamhammer losing a lot of Lings and Hydras for no reason. I don't know what that's about, but worker-wise getting into shape, equaling Protoss at the moment, and although Tyr is going to come up with a nice push, and Steamhammer's got really no army whatsoever, it's got the tech, and it will have the economy pretty soon to replenish large or to build large armies at the drop of a hat. Nice bit of money in the bank, and Tyr Protoss is really, if you were to do this on a 2 base, it would make me rather more comfortable. Just mining out a main base and then making one big push is a strategy which would have worked 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Right now I don't think it's enough. Steamhammer going up to its 5th base and just producing units. So it's got an army which is fighting, and before that Protoss army reaches the base, it has reached the base, it's now going to be walled in by Hydras, and of course there are rallies coming up. The Protoss army won't be able to do much economical damage. The Hydras will take it, the Lings, the rallies will take it, and although all the workers seems to be... Where are all those workers for? A lot of workers are here, no workers are here. Although Tyr Protoss is fighting quite well, it can't really get its foot down, and there are just too many Hydras at this point. So, yeah. Although Steamhammer's got no army, so this might be the natural, and although Scourge are not going to do anything, Tyr needs another base though, and really fast. Going for ultras, 2 Sunkens might have been preferable, or a lurker or anything like that, and that's just really those hard-coded build orders or clumsy decision making. Steamhammer's going to lose the main and all, and Tyr's going to take a natural. So another game where I thought, well, you're well ahead now, just take the game, and then the other bot just does something, well, not brilliant but just does something because the other bots stalled or do something stupid, and that is the game. GG! Next, Lucas Moravec, again versus BFT Joe. BFT Joe, going to see what's going to do. This broadcast we have seen Zerg do some questionable things, which is not good, and Protoss, Lucas going for the 2-gate pressure. Got a bit of pressure on his own hands with a lot of Lings coming up. Workers coming off the minerals to help and defend. But by now I think BFT Joe is not going to build... it will have to build workers. It's only on 1 base, and Protoss is running away with this worker-wise and army-wise. So once you commit to a Ling tactic, you are going to have to do damage or try to get up a natural, but these Zealots... these Zealots don't fight. A lot of the time they weren't attacking, and that cost a lot of HP, lots of Zealots. And Zerg really needs that extra hatchery because it can't keep up with production. If you've got 3 or 2 gateways, it's only 2, that's a bit of luck for Zerg. If you've got 3 gateways and all probes mining, you can't really expect with 1 hatchery to build enough Zealots to outproduce the Protoss. But the natural's nearly done, the drone count is okay, you can build. As you can see, there are minerals in the bank. Might even plop down another hatchery just to make sure. Question is though, you're getting behinder and behinder. The Protoss, stop producing workers, is only now building another gate and some tech. So Zerg for the time being seems to be okay, but it's so hard. Only 8 workers, should really get 1 or 2 workers in, and or is BFT Joe going to do this with pure Ling? Surely not. Those Zealots are way too strong, and if they don't get cut off, or oh god, this is bad. This is just bad unit micro from Lucas. But now at the ramp with the Zealots fighting a good fight, that's good. And only now, yep, there we go. BFT Joe going for the drones, going for 2 extra hatcheries. That's good, but now it will have a problem on its hand because it's 5.5 army supply and 16 advancing upon its natural. That's not good. Sorry for that superfluous comment. But the Lings are fighting okay. The Zealots are dying and the Dragoons are not yet there. And now there are more hatcheries. Drone count, worker count is okay. It was 8, it's now 13. But it just needs to press Z for Zergling and bear survival, because we've got 4 goons. And those Zerglings coming in at 1 and 2 at a time are just going to be soaked up. Workers coming off, and this goon micro is just too good. And then you are going to build a lair. Oh god. And the Lings, will they save it? No, I don't think they will. Worker count is dropping again, but just for the love of God, build Zerglings, man. Oh, please, don't go off in tech. No drones, no tech. Zerglings now. And the goons are too well micro, doing too much damage. And Lucas Moravec is doing this off 1 base. Sorry for shouting at AIs, that's not really the courteous thing to do. But some things are really hard to watch, and I can't bear Protoss beating Zerg, but it's got to be given to Lucas Moravec. It's a good game. Good game, GG! Then McRave versus Forcebot. We saw Forcebot earlier versus Chasenguk doing okay, but how will it do versus McRave, which is pretty good. Rave now with the cannons at the outside. I like that very much more. We saw Tier Protoss on, I think that was this map, but on a similar construction in the main base, build the cannons here. And if you build them at the choke of the natural, and you can, you've got really the advantage of the choke. You've got no units which called siege tanks, but no units which can take a position here and shell it. They've got to funnel into this funnel and then die. And you've got your 2 base setup, so that's pretty well done. Forcebot now with the Sunkens at the natural at the start of the game. That's good. And catching a probe. So both players on 2 bases, building a little bit of an army onto a little bit of tech. And that's a bloodbath, which Zerg shouldn't be looking to get into. Lots of cannons, lots of gateway units, and they fight together. That is very important. If you've got these cannons and then you take your gateway army to fight here, you are basically wasting the cannons. So you've got to fight here while the cannons can provide suppressing fire. Now Zerg is going for more units, more hatcheries. Might take a 3rd, and Protoss is now just going to have a look what the Zerg defenses look like and take a 3rd base. So that's a good strategy and all. Move out, take a base because the enemy is under pressure, and build another gateway. That's also good because you need to spread your production in case your main gets wiped out or contained. It's nice to have some colonies with basic production capacity so you can relieve your main if it's necessary. Zerg now going for lurkers, and is there detection? I don't think there is yet. We are going to find out. And I did see a lurker somewhere, but not anymore. And the Protoss army has broken through. I heard a lurker die, it wasn't burrowed. Oh, pity. So that's the end. McRave too good for Forcebot, of course, can be expected. McRave is a force to be reckoned with. Very solid play, decent solutions, very well done here. Production at the other bases as well. Now heading back. Oh, the lurker is here. Oh god, it's not again. It's like with TSEMU. We've got one lurker camping some kind of ramp and then dying. Okay, well that's unfortunate. Was a bit of a gimme, but I think McRave was going to win this anyway because it's got an observatory and can use detection. So yeah, McRave, I really like McRave. As he's a Protoss, of course, that's a bit of a miss, but as a Protoss, it's pretty good. So not the last game, but one before that. It is McRave versus Killerbot. And McRave is going to go for another game, and the enemy is now much, much stronger. And Killerbot is, and I show you this for the last time, is in 3rd place behind Crazio and Ironbot. So that is pretty impressive for a bot which hasn't been updated in almost a year. Only goes to show that Marian Diveka knows what he's doing, or what he was doing, and I can only hope that he will be pushing another update for our glorious tournament. Not really into the scientific part of things like CRG and AIIDE, and another, well, this placement could be a little bit other way around, but okay. Cannons not in the main, but at the natural choke. Killabot going for a lot of units, looks like. Just going for hatcheries, no tech, a little bit of gas. Will it be making, yeah, link speed coming up. And lots of links. Going to try and chase that probe. When link speed is done, it will be able to do so. And 2 creep colonies not sunkens yet, mind you. No sunkens. Just the option of having some extra defense here. And more hatcheries and sunkens over here. So game plan wise, that's a very good setup. Only the link count might be a little bit bigger because Protoss can with the Zealots, and if Protoss would be doing the +1 a little bit faster, Zerg dies in 3 hits, so that's a good upgrade to get. But just look at that worker transfer, look at the units being built. We have got so much potential here in this Zerg, and Zerg not making any army whatsoever, just keeping tabs on the enemy, and I'd really, because this is going to get way out of control. It's got 12 army supply on the Protoss side, and as a Zerg you can't, even though you've got a lot of larvae, you can't instantly replenish that. And Zerg's only got 4 army supply. That's not a lot, that's very little. Taking another base, the problem is that this Protoss army is going to get bigger and bigger, and the tech's coming to come into play. And with Reavers and Storm, you're going to have a hell of a time beating that with just Hive or Lair, with Lair or no Lair tech units. Of course, there is a Lair, and there are things being built, but only now the army is growing a little bit, and there are some Hydras. And if I am correct in assuming that Killabot won't lose too many units, it's going to be a bit of a problem for McRae, because this container is going to grow stronger and stronger, and bases are going to be taken. And as long as you don't lose units by poking in, poking out, just keeping your distance, not attacking, not aggressing, you can just, as a Zerg or any other race, take the map and look at their setup. That's really good. Larvae at the bottom, Sunkens here, might do with a Spore as well. Unfortunately no Spore, but this army isn't taking, well, it's taking a couple of hits now, but should just be running. And now McRae is venturing out, and Killabot has got the inferior army, and it should just fight, but it's kite or do something. The problem is that Protoss got a strong army and Zerg hasn't, and Zerg is now losing units for nothing. Is Zerg going to fight here with the Sunkens? You can't just lose units here for no reason. It's not done, it's not the way you do things. And now it's fighting in alignment with the Sunkens. A lot of bloodshed, but the Hydras and the Lings clean it up. The last Sunken lives, and this Sunken needs to be replaced instantly because McRae is going to put a lot of pressure on it. But now the tables are turned, and Zerg's got the superior army bringing home those goons, and now Protoss will have to be fighting. Where are those stupid Zealots going? They should be here, because now the cannons are exposed, and the Zealots will just return in the nick of time, or in the nick of time for this battle at least, because Zerg's got the inferior army, but it's got the entire bloody map. And by now it's got the, it hasn't got the technology yet, but it's got just so much production capacity, and if you look at all the extra hatches that Killabot has, it's just beautiful. Oh well, the extra hatches are all here, but still. And now these few cannons are going to be run down. The Templar are not done in time. Where is Storm? Storm is done. Templar, get into there, because if you lose the natural, you can't kiss that game goodbye. And you can already. And here come this. Oh, they all storm the same spot. That's more like it. And you can see the Zerg army, oh, in a precipitous drop. But if you look at the minimap, it doesn't really matter, because on a one-base situation, you can't produce enough Templar to storm this incoming bunch of Hydras. And that's really a beautiful game by Killabot. Killabot, you are my darling, or one of my darlings. It's so beautiful, so aggressive, and so well in the decision making. Not building, this was the main base, not building the main base here, but building it here. It's far further away, and you are more covered by all the other bases. It's just like it. Must say I like it, I love it. And that is the game. Now you do it in style. So last game, game between the numbers 1 and 2 of the current situation. And I really will, sorry I can't spend more time on this because I've run out of time for this broadcast. I have seen so many beautiful games, I've seen some silly games as well, but you see that in human play as well, so shouldn't be too grudgy about that. But the games are getting beautifuler and beautifuler and beautifuler, and now it is the number 1 versus the number 2. It is Ironbot with an ELO of almost 2400 versus Crazio almost the same, so it's anyone's game. Of course, Crazio is more the defensive bot still after all these years, and Ironbot is still more aggressive than Crazio. But Crazio has taken games of Iron and not a few, so it's anyone's game really. And ooh, the vultures get into the worker line. That's really bad. Crazio is not fighting, and the workers are doing lots of damage. Mining time lost, workers lost, and that's really beautiful. And also they scout the Wraith. And the Wraith is going to go and sit behind that bunker. Oh god! Arrgh! I've been saying that so many times already. If you're going to build Wraiths, do something with them. And not with a push, just go around, kill a worker, kill 2. Not just have them hover over the bunker, provide air support for these tanks. Do something. You've got the superior composition at this moment. You're lagging behind one command center. Use that superior composition to get some unit kills, get some damage in, do some damage. And now there are all kinds of turrets all over there, but you got to keep into contact with the enemy, not just defend, and that's better. Do some damage, kill some buildings, but get your stupid Wraiths out on the map, please. Oh god, and although the tanks and the Wraiths are doing okay defending, Ironbot is going to has finished the 3rd. Worker-wise, Ironbot is ahead, and a 3 versus 2 base situation you do not want as a Terran, or as anyone. Or as a Protoss or a Terran you can versus Zerg play 1 base down, that's not a problem, but if you are going for expensive units like Wraiths and tanks, you've got to bloody well use them. Push! There is no tank here yet. You can just roll all of this up with a couple of tanks just pushing in, pushing out. There you go. Goodness gracious me. Just push. Roll it up, roll it over, and with the Wraiths, kill the tanks. With the tanks, kill everything else. That's how it's done. 3rd base for Crazio. Needs some defense. Wall it off. 1 tank like TSC Moo likes to do. Yep, there we go. Here is the tank. Oh good. Siege. And I'm missing the battle, but Crazio finally pushing. Problem is Ironbot's ahead. Unfortunately for it hasn't got a 4th base, but Crazio is pushing, and then you've got the defender's advantage, and all these expensive units for Crazio been thrown in the battle too late, I feel, and Iron is just going to run away with this, going to build more units, and now it's got the superior economy, it's got the superior unit composition and the defender's advantage. Crazio is pushing and losing tanks to Wraiths. That's really... I feel that Iron's got the better TVT composition, keeping its distance, making a nice concave, and Crazio is just sacrificing units one at a time, just losing damage, losing the odd vulture here or there. Iron now with the 4th, and Iron is maxed. Crazio is not. Iron's got a little bit more workers, a little bit too many, I feel, for TVT, but if you are trading, you can bring that superior economy to bear. Crazio's got the 3rd up, but it won't get a 4th, and Iron is now on 5 bases, one of the advantages of being the aggressive Terran. And Crazio is macroing up to a max of its own. That's pretty good, but the main is out. The natural is going to be out, and the 3rd is not under attack, but 1 base versus the map never brought anyone the victory. And although you can, in a standoff, max out, that's impressive enough, but I feel, and sorry for speeding this up because I'm really running out of time, I really should be out already in the real life world. You can see Iron's got the bank and Crazio can't really sustain this max, and the 3rd is the only base left. Iron's got the map, and although Crazio is maxed and is in this beautiful stalemate, which would be more interesting to show a little bit slower, Iron, well, Iron is falling fast. How is Crazio doing this? Really impressive. This tank push is really doing damage, but Crazio is losing units and it has no gas whatsoever. All the workers are gone. Iron is now caving, Crazio's caving in, Iron is breaking in, and Crazio is, well, it's got the position, it's got a good defense, but Iron's just maxed, and Crazio is losing units, and every unit it loses it cannot replace. Iron just taking more bases, taking its time, and although Crazio is defending really well, it's dropping in supply. 100, dipping below 100, Iron still maxed. The third has been run over a long time ago, and although Crazio is holding the middle of the map versus a superior army, Iron's now had enough, going to drop the hammer, and this is Crazio's last stand. Iron throwing units at it left and right. Crazio 45, and that is the game. So Ironbot still the champion, and not without a reason. This was the Student StarCraft AI tournament. Come visit us at our website, watch these bots play against them, and learn to code them yourself. We'll be back next week. I thank you for watching, and I say goodbye.